Thunderbird Nation, welcome to the Thunderbird Coaches Show. Today we have head coach Tracy Sanders and assistant coach Katie Gruys. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule today.
Thanks for having us.
The Coaches
Good to be here.
The Coaches Show is presented by Warehouse Bar Plus Kitchen. Warehouse Bar Plus Kitchen is a proud sponsor of SU Athletics and has great food, craft cocktails, and is always showing your favorite sports and UFC fights. Warehouse will be hosting a super party on February 12th for the big game. Head over to your local sports bar for prizes, food specials, and more. Warehouse would like to remind everyone to have fun and always drink responsibly. So, a long time since a lot has happened since the last episode of the Coaches Show. Last one was last time out right before the game versus La Sierra, which was a win for you guys. Mm-hmm. Let's recap the last five games or so just to start out the show.
Yeah. Well, we played well against La Sierra. I thought it was a great game, just lots of opportunities for a bunch of different people, and good to have that game right before we went up to Utah. Utah, super strong team. Obviously, they're playing really, really well. I know they were undefeated until they just lost to Colorado, but tough game for us. I thought we battled. Honestly, I thought we got better throughout that game, which was fun. We've played a really tough non-conference schedule like we talked about, and so to kind of end on that one was obviously hard, taking an L before you leave for Christmas, but I think there were so many positives that came from that game that we felt pretty good about the effort and our ability to get better and learn from some of the things that we had taken away from other games. So that was good. And then, I'll let Katie kind of talk about conference.
Yeah, I mean, going 3-0 with 2 games on the road, I think has just been an awesome confidence boost for our team. I mean, to play at home against a good Utah Tech team, start off strong with our run in the beginning, and then kind of, weather their run and just finish strong throughout that game. That was great for our confidence boost. And then going down to New Mexico State, I mean, the whole game we were kind of struggling with some of our offense and, their pressure, and they were pressing us, and we kind of just stuck with it, weathered the storm, and then the fourth quarter really kind of just took over and went on our run. Sharita had an amazing game in that fourth quarter and just refused to lose. And then this last weekend going to Seattle U, they're playing well. They just won a road game at Rio Grande, and so had our girls ready, and they performed. And Dayla, Sharita, Meg, we had a bunch of different performers, and that's the best thing about our team. It can be a different person every night.
Yeah, that's definitely great about this team. And also, starting 3-0 in conference play, a really, really good start because, non-conference is great and all. But, in the past, when people talk to me, oh, this team's, 12-0. Mm-hmm. Well, they haven't started conference play yet. Conference play is a whole entire different beast. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a new season starting in the middle of it. Just talk about the importance of being 3-0 in conference play.
I think it's for us, like I said, with the tough non-conference schedule that we played, I think they're starting to see the rewards from that. Like that hard work, that tough stuff that we went through is starting to pay off. And I think they're excited that it is a new season. First year in the WAC, like we're excited to play. We're excited about every opponent because it's the first time we've really had a chance to play them. Opening up at home against Utah Tech, I think, was huge. We were fired up for that game. Obviously, you could see that in that first quarter. Yeah. And so I just think we're trying to take every single game like it is the most important game of the year. Obviously, with the way the WAC kind of works with the standings and the net rankings and all that different stuff, there's a lot that's on the line every single game. And so I think that they understand the importance of stepping into every game, whether we're on the road, whether we're at home, whether we're playing a team at the top or a team like Seattle that had struggled a little bit early. So, I mean, it's just we got to take every game super, super attention to detail.
And, playing off the first season of the WAC, what are some of the differences you've seen between the WAC and the conference we used to be in, the Big Sky?
I can talk about that. A lot of guard play. A lot of the WAC teams are playing like that 4-guard perimeter play, maybe one true center that can't shoot the 3, but a lot of the teams 1 through 5, they can all dribble, pass, and shoot. So a little bit more athletic. I think where we've really taken advantage is our inside game, where the Big Sky, like Montana State, they've always had that strong 4-5 and rebounding. And we've been up there too in the Big Sky. And so now we're just kind of trying to take our athleticism and our bigs to the WAC and play that way. And we really feel like we have all the pieces. I mean, we have 2 point guards on the floor, we have our shooter, and then we have, 2 solid bigs with their field goal percentage and rebounding as well.
Yeah, and speaking of rebounding right now, top 50 in the country in rebound margin and defensive rebounds and rebounds per game. That's been a huge factor for this team so far, with Lizzie just going up, ground the rebounds, put in, Ashley and Megan and just everyone else, and it's pretty fun to watch out there.
Well, and you have Sharita who rebounds in the guard spot too, and I think when Tamika gets back, I mean, she's a great rebounder as well. Rebounding has always kind of been a huge staple, I think, of our success and kind of building and getting better is, we had Dari, who was a great rebounder. We've always had a rebounding presence. And I think we talk about it before every single game. I mean, we talk about it practice. We do try to focus on rebounding. Even if we're doing a drill, it's like we're finishing it with the box out. And we kind of had to recircle, I would say, after preseason and just kind of like refocus again on it. But it's definitely gotten better, and I think they understand how crucial the boards are.
Absolutely. And now we're going to turn to Katie over here. Tell Thunderbird Nation about yourself a little bit, your journey here to Southern Utah and all that.
Yeah, I'm originally from Minnesota, so born and raised there. And then from Minnesota, I went to Oregon, ended up going there for track, and then basketball had some injuries, so they asked me to join the team my freshman year. Yeah, so pretty cool. And then played all 4 years. Had a coaching change my junior year with Coach Kelly and Coach Katie Gruys, Coach Tracy. So that's kind of where the coaching tree. Loved my time there. Just knew I wanted to get into coaching right away. So then I went to Clemson University for a graduate assistant. Was there for 1 year before I went back to Oregon to coach Division III. Just a good way to get all the experience I could get with me and the head coach, just being the only two. Was there for 2 years, and then Tracy had me on board and been here ever since, and I love Southern Utah. I mean, it's home. It's a great place to work. Our staff is close. Our team is close, and it's been so fun building this team.
Nice. How was the transition from track and field to basketball? Because not many collegiate athletes are asked,
she could play any sport.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in Minnesota, I grew up in a town of 2,000. I mean, we didn't even have a stoplight, so I actually had to play 5 sports in high school. Wow. Track was just my way of getting out of that small town. Basketball was definitely my favorite sport, but it was just kind of my route to go Division I. And I mean, I got extremely lucky, but it was just all a part of the plan.
Talk about the switch from coaching D3 to Division I.
Yeah, it was great because I had all the experience. Clemson, I was a GA, and so I was very hands-on with the team and recruiting weekends and all that kind of stuff. But I worked for such a big staff, so you kind of don't master everything. Yeah. You're kind of just only working on your one thing. So I got the advice from my mentor, my old coach, KG, and he was just like, just get all your experience. And so at Division III, when you're the only assistant, you're doing all the recruiting, all the player development, all the academic stuff, every single scout. So that's like 30 a year. And so it's just a good way to get your coaching voice, your experience, your confidence. And then I felt like I was pretty ready to make that jump to Division I, and was lucky enough that Tracy hired me.
Right on. And just, that big jump as well. And, I didn't know that at D3 level, assistant coaches literally handle everything. That's pretty awesome as well right there. And I bet Coach Sanders is very happy to have you on the staff. And,
I am. We've been lucky to keep her here too. She's a hot commodity. She is probably one of the best recruiters in the country. I mean, I think she's tireless in like her work ethic, and you can tell how passionate she is about what she does, and she loves the game. And whether it's playing or coaching, she loves basketball, and you see it every single day.
Tracy's very easy to sell too. I mean, I had a great college coach, but I tell every single recruit, I wish I could have played for Tracy because she's just an amazing leader. So has made it extremely easy to recruit.
Talking about recruiting, what is it like just, recruiting high school players?
Yeah, I mean, recruiting high school players, transfers, junior college, got to make sure it's the right fit. I mean, Tracy really likes tough, competitive players, somebody that's going to fit into our program of playing fast and playing on both sides of the floor. But you just really get to know the player. You know, you get to know who they are outside of basketball, inside of basketball. We obviously play a ton of ball screens, so it's important for us to get guards that can dribble, pass, and shoot, bigs that can play inside out, and then that center that's really a good, somebody in the paint, shot blocker, shot contester, can get up and down the floor, mobile. But just getting to know their personality and making sure that they fit with our team. We really, make sure that chemistry-wise they're going to be a good add.
Right on, right on. So looking at the schedule ahead for the Thunderbirds, so 5 more conference games coming up, starting to get into that middle stretch of conference season. Big one coming up Wednesday up against Utah Valley. Also, Megan Jensen, current Thunderbird, former Wolverine at Utah Valley. How's that game going to feel? It's going to be a homecoming game for her in a way,
right?
Or a revenge game.
I think she's excited. I actually think Meg has been really excited to start conference play. I mean, I think she feels comfortable. She's familiar. I think she feels like she has something to prove, which has been fun. She's been playing great in our last few games. And so I think she's excited about that game. We love having her here. She works really hard. She's super skilled. And I think she just continues to get better and better. And so it's great having her with the experience against some of these teams because she's familiar with them, like I said. And, she'll probably help us out a little bit with the scout.
Yeah, and that's just huge right there because she could identify, all right, they're going to do the set screen right here, or ISO play that, if she's on the floor, that could, be a turnover for the Thunderbirds and on to the races we go,
Exactly. Yeah.
And this conference I've realized is just so tough as well. Just on the men's and women's side, every game is just very close and competitive. Speak about that for a second.
Yeah. Well, I think the exciting part about it is we check scores after our games, and you're seeing upsets. And I know right now I think we're the only team without a loss. And a lot of it is scheduling, who you have. Obviously, you don't play everyone twice, so there's a little bit of scheduling stuff that plays into it. But I think it's just exciting. It's exciting to see, the shakeups and just kind of how things are going to play out. I think for us, where we are with the net rankings and all that, we have to continue to win games so that we can keep moving up. Because right now we're at the top, but I think we're 4th place in the standings, and so we have to try to even that out, and that comes with winning at home, winning on the road, and just taking it one game at a time. But I feel like there could be an upset. Anyone can win on any given night, and so that's something too that we keep stressing is you got to be ready to play. You have to be fired up. Doesn't matter who you're playing.
So you spoke about the net and within the standings. How does the Western Athletic Conference run their standings? They run it just off of conference wins and losses, or is it totally off of net? How do they run the standings overall?
Well, the standings, if you finish the season at the top, you win the conference. That's that's kind of how it plays out. But then they do seeding for the conference tournament. So you could theoretically finish in first place, but if your net ranking isn't high enough, then you are seeded differently.
Interesting.
So winning's important. I think especially with the preseason that we had, we have to make sure those games, those tough Pac-12 games, they don't hurt you a ton, especially on the road. But we need to win games now. We need to make sure in conference we're winning games.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they hired a men's basketball Ken Palm guy to do the stats throughout the whole season. So, we're kind of the guinea pigs with this whole system on the men's and the women's side. And, if you win a home game, that's huge. If you win a road game, you even get more points, and then that home team gets, knocked even more points. And so hoping it all evens out to what it should be. Obviously, 1 through 4, you want to get the bye for the WAC. You don't want to be playing on that first day.
That's very interesting. That's the first I've heard about the conference doing standings like this. I think this is the first ever in college basketball on the D1 level that they've done these off of net. Very interesting flow, and definitely can change up, the seeding for the conference play. You got, like you said, you got to have a top team, and oh no, we're gonna put you at the 5th seed. Now you got to play in the first round of the conference tournament.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, right now we're 3-0, number 1 in standings, but number 4 with the seeding. So, if it were to end tomorrow, we'd have that first round bye, but we'd be fourth. So the more wins we get, it'll hopefully just even out, and then you want to beat those teams that are in front of you.
Interesting. And also, you said that road wins are a lot more important. You have 2 important road games coming up against rivals Utah Tech, 50 minutes down from us, and then also at Grand Canyon. They have a very, very good team this year. How are you going to go in that mindset with road games being so important now?
Well, I think it's like I said earlier, we're taking every game one by one. I mean, we have to focus on that first game. We have to focus on Utah Valley and get the job done and then move on to the next game. And I think, I think a lot of our girls are kind of where you were at. They didn't really understand like how it all worked.
Yeah.
And so we had that discussion when we were on the road in Seattle. And so I think they understand the value of winning on the road, and winning on the road is fun. It can be hard. Travel is hard, but like it's so rewarding. There's nothing better than winning on the road and traveling home, and just that feeling of, it really brings us together. I feel like there's a lot of camaraderie out of winning on the road. So we're just going to have to buckle down and be ready to go.
Stealing a road win is always good. I played basketball growing up and went to all these tournaments, and playing against a home team and you're the road team and you steal a win from them. That's always great and feels amazing. And talking about the traveling on the road and in the Big Sky Conference. Yes, some teams are far out, but usually you had 2 or 3 in one state. You had both the Montanas, you got 2 Idaho teams, you had, one in Washington, one in Oregon. This conference is a lot more spread out. How is that going to affect you guys on the road? Sometimes having to travel down to Arizona or to Texas and, just states that are, pretty far from Cedar City.
Yeah, I mean, we've been selling that we're traveling to warmer places, but we have these one-game road trips that we're not used to.
Yeah.
It's shorter travel. It's not the nicest on our budget, but I mean, traveling just to New Mexico State, traveling just to Seattle U, where we never did that unless it was, our travel partner. So it's definitely different. And then we're just trying to fly out of Cedar or St. George as much as possible, whereas before it was the same, but we were going through Salt Lake to make a Bozeman or a Missoula trip. But yeah, we're kind of, those guinea pigs those first year. What places do we stay at? Where do we eat? How long does it take us to get to the gym and the hotel? So we're just kind of figuring it out as we go.
Yeah, a little fun question. What is like the best place on the road you've eaten at so far?
I like the steakhouses in Montana.
Yeah, those were good. I
think it's called Ted's.
Yeah.
Ted's.
It's funny because when we went through COVID, we started doing a lot of stuff in the hotel, and I feel like we've gotten really comfortable with that, and it's been nice. We come back from practice or the game, and we have food there for us. So I feel like we've kind of shifted a little bit to doing that more. And with these quick road trips, I mean, the more we can make them believe we're not even on the road, the better. So it goes by so fast, I think, but yeah. So I feel like all we do is eat sometimes.
Yeah. Our girls are warriors. I mean, on Friday before Seattle, we left Cedar at 4:15 in the morning.
Wow.
Ended up getting there at like 1:30. Had a little bit of a nap. Then it was film at 5, practice at 6 until 8, and then dinner and go to bed, and then wake up early the next morning 7:30 for shoot around. So it's these girls are warriors for sure.
That's a tough away routine right there, as opposed to home, maybe waking up at 8 or 9 for a 7 p.m. game, going to your classes and practice and all that stuff. That's way different on the road, especially with how stretched out the WAC is, with teams up in Seattle, then all the way going down to Texas and all that stuff right there. And looking at the conference slate right now, 3-0 at the moment, great start. And also, a little fun fact, undefeated against State of New Mexico, won the home opener against the Lobos, and now won on the road against the New Mexico State Aggies. And just, all that stuff right there is great to see as well. And the preseason polls, you guys are ranked 6th in coaches and 8th in media right now, proving everyone wrong. Just speak about that for a second.
That doesn't bother me.
Bother you.
Yeah, I know we have to look at it, and we look at it, and it is what it is, but we just use it as motivation. We'll see where we are. I think every year that I've been here, we've been picked lower than we finished, and so that's fine. that just adds more fuel to the fire for us. So I don't put too much into that. But, yeah, I think we have a great team. I mean, I think this team still, this conference still doesn't seem to recognize that we have Tamika Whitman on our team. I keep reminding them.
She's definitely the best transfer.
We have a really good player that's not playing yet. So, I think if we can get her healthy and get her back, that only makes us deeper. And like Katie said, I mean, it's fun to see Sharita and Dayla perform like they did. And then you have Megan there, and you have Lizzie blocking shots, and you have Sam that can shoot it. And then we have some great people coming off the bench that are continuing to get better. And it's hard because we have had the injuries, but it's also given more opportunities to some people that maybe wouldn't have gotten as much playing time. And so I think we're progressing faster, So that stuff is fun to see. And I just think we have a strong team where different people are stepping up every single night, and that's going to help you down the road. We can't just rely on one person. We have to make sure that we have multiple people giving us good stuff every single night.
And speaking of Tamika, on National Signing Day, also that's when all the transfers are announced and all that stuff. And, I was like, okay. And then also see down below, Defensive Big Sky Player of the Year. And I was like, wow, this is a big time signing for the Thunderbirds. And her impact on the court was just phenomenal in that first home game up against New Mexico. Just, was all over the place and just making plays for the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, she's a super athlete and obviously a great defender, but she's so good on the offensive end too. I mean, she's another player that really wants the ball in her hands, and, you can go to her because, she's going to want to go get a score. And I think we're seeing that out of Sharita now too, which has been really fun. I feel like she's playing it like it's her senior year, and it's really fun to see. I mean, she was relentless in the New Mexico State game and, this last game too. She's just, like Katie said, refusing to lose. And I think, we've always known how great she is, and she's so humble. And so it's fun to see her getting it done.
Yeah. Speaking about Sharita, she's a graduate now last year with the team, I believe, right?
She'll graduate this year.
She'll graduate this year.
Yep.
Awesome. Great role player, great key player for the Thunderbirds. Just, a leader on the floor. I call the game sometimes, and after a foul, one of her teammates is frustrated. She'll go over and talk to him like, hey, let's calm down, let's keep it focused. She's talking on the bench, hyping up the teammates, and that's just great to see a team leader like that on the roster, because that's so key and pivotal in today's college basketball.
Yeah, she's competitive. She wants to win, and I think she struggles with the referee sometimes. She'll probably be the first to admit that too, but I think part of it is she is a competitive person and she wants to win, and so she wants to do whatever we need to do to try to win.
That's awesome, right?
She's phenomenal. I mean, she's one of the best players in this conference, no doubt. She's a matchup nightmare. Do you zone her? Do you man her? You force her left, she's going to hit the pull-up. You force her right, she's going to go to the basket. I mean, she's an amazing player. I was looking up stats this morning. She's second in conference, 22 points a game. So the last three is 19, 26, and 21. Rebounding machine, too, and then leading the conference in free throw percentage at 93%. So she can do it all.
That's huge. Free throws, growing up playing basketball, my coach always said, that's the most important part of the game right there. He sat all of us down. He asked the question, what's the most important bucket? Some people layups, 3-pointers, He's like, no, it's free throws. That's where you're going to win and lose games. And that's just amazing that, 93%, that's just outright fantastic to have that good of a free throw shooter on this team.
Absolutely.
And also, any shout outs for you guys quickly on the show? Any shout outs?
Go ahead, Katie.
Shout out to my Uncle Bill. I'm sure he'll be listening. He's a big T-Bird fan.
Right on. Any shout outs for you, Coach?
Oh, I don't got any today. I don't know.
Your dog?
Yeah,
your dog.
Coda, recovering from his knee surgery.
Oh.
He tore his ACL. So
yeah, last time we spoke, how is he doing right now?
He's doing great.
Awesome.
He's doing great. Yeah,
awesome.
Slow process.
Yep, getting the Roddy back up to full health.
He's doing good.
Yeah, awesome. Any other thoughts going into conference play, like any matchups later on in the season you guys are looking forward to?
Yeah. I mean, I guess one thought for me just while we're on here is like, I know this UVU game is huge. School is back in session. So, you know, if students are listening, anybody out there, like we need as many people as we can get to that game. Our fans have been incredible at home, even during break when, you know, we didn't have students here. So I think if we can continue that, that would be huge. I mean, it's so like, there's so much value in having a crowd. I mean, everybody loves playing in front of a crowd, and they, you know, I think that this would be considered one of the toughest places to play. It was in the Big Sky. I think it will be in the WAC, and so I think the more we can get that fan base going and continuing to get better and better, it's only going to help us.
You heard a Cedar City community show out on Wednesday night. I believe tip-off's at 7 p.m., yes?
6:30.
6:30.
Yep.
All right, only 30 minutes off. But, you know, show out to the game. You know, big game against Utah Valley, one of our new rivals, and also an in-state rival as well, and a little bit of a homecoming game for Megan Jensen as well in that matchup. And also first week of school, students not doing much. I know you're not, you know, be syllabus and all that stuff. So please come out, support the Thunderbird basketball program. Any other thoughts from you two before we end?
No, thank you for having us.
Yeah,
all right.
appreciate it.
That is it for this episode of the Thunderbirds Coach a Show. For Tracy Sanders, Katie Gruys, I'm Anthony Colasuno. That's a wrap.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank
No problem.
you.